Number 1. The Exploding Toilet. We start with King George II of Great Britain. While his reign was largely successful, his death was less so. The king suffered a fatal aortic dissection in 1760, but the uncut truth is that this event happened while he was, shall we say, indisposed. Specifically, he was sitting on his water closet. Historians often claim the physical exertion from his activity caused the fatal tear. Imagine being the court doctor, having to write that on the official death certificate. Cause of death, aorta failure, location, the loo. It's a tragic reminder that no matter how much power or how many crowns you own, you are still subject to the biological absurdities of the human body, especially when you're on the throne. Number 2, the killer beard. Next, meet Hans Steininger, a 16th century Austrian man famous for one thing, the longest beard in the world, measuring nearly 5 feet. In 1567, a massive fire broke out in his town. In the panic, Hans forgot to roll up his beard into its protective leather pouch. As he ran, his giant beard trailed behind him, and he accidentally stepped on it. Hans tripped, fell down a flight of stairs, and broke his neck. His pride, his 5-foot beard, literally became his undoing. It's the ultimate cautionary tale about fashion over function. The official cause of death wasn't the fire. It was the world's longest necktie. Number 3, the Great Beer Flood. Let's head to London. 1814, a vat at the Moo and Company Brewery burst, releasing a massive wave of beer. We're talking about a wave of stout, a dense, dark beer, over 15 feet high, flooding the streets and destroying 2 nearby houses. 8 people died. Some were crushed by the collapsing buildings, but others literally drowned in beer. Drowning is terrible, but drowning in a gigantic wave of ale? It sounds like a strange fantasy, but for those Londoners, it was the uncut truth of a truly fermented disaster. The most London way to go. Number 4, the Deadly Acrobat. Clement Vallandigham was a 19th century lawyer, famous for being a brilliant speaker, but perhaps less famous for his dramatic courtroom demonstration. He was defending a man accused of murder. Vallandigham argued that the victim had accidentally shot himself while drawing a gun from his pocket. To prove his point, Vallandigham decided to recreate the action. He grabbed a loaded pistol from his pocket, demonstrated the movement, and accidentally shot himself. Dying instantly, his client was acquitted based on this tragic yet definitive piece of evidence. He won the case, but lost his life. The ultimate case of overcommitting to the bit, his client walked free, thanks to the world's most dramatic and final legal defense. Number 5, the Deadly Barrel. We head to Dublin, 1853, and meet Mr. Arthur Guinness. Yes, that Guinness. The descendant of the stout founders, Arthur was a successful brewer, but unfortunately, he had a very messy estate. Guinness was inspecting his brewery grounds when he came across a pile of empty barrels. For a reason known only to him, he decided to climb atop the pile. The structure, being unstable, collapsed. Arthur Guinness was instantly killed when he was crushed by a collapsing pyramid of beer barrels. He survived the Great Beer Flood of 1814, which killed his predecessors, only to be undone by the storage units of his own product 40 years later. It's the kind of ironic, self-inflicted demise that makes you question karma. Number 6, the Glitch in the Matrix. Moving to Paris in 1911, meet François Collet, a very unlucky man who met his end, thanks to an everyday object, an umbrella. Collet was walking down the street during a storm when another pedestrian accidentally, or perhaps forcefully, pushed his umbrella tip straight into Collet's eye. The umbrella tip penetrated his brain, killing him instantly. Just walking down the street, minding his own business, and bam, death by accidental ocular penetration. It's a terrifying reminder that danger doesn't just lurk in dark alleys. Sometimes it's just a rude pedestrian and an oddly sharp piece of rain gear. Never trust a Frenchman with a pointy umbrella. Number 7, the Prophetic Curtain. This bizarre death comes courtesy of the Greek playwright Aeschylus. Born around 525 BC, Aeschylus was famously prophesied to die from a blow from the heavens. To avoid this blow from the heavens, Aeschylus decided the safest place to be was outdoors, where nothing could possibly fall on him. The irony, as always, is brutal. As Aeschylus sat enjoying the sunshine, an eagle flew overhead. The eagle had caught a tortoise, and, mistaking Aeschylus's bald head for a rock, dropped the tortoise onto his skull to break its shell, Aeschylus died instantly. The man successfully avoided lightning, only to be taken out by a very confused eagle and its lunch. He was killed by divine prophecy delivered via avian artillery. You can't make this stuff up. Number 8. The Great Molasses Flood. Let's end with one of the sweetest, stickiest disasters ever. The Great Molasses Flood in Boston, 1919. A huge tank holding over 2.3 million gallons of molasses suddenly burst. The rupture sent a massive wave of molasses, 15 to 25 feet high, rushing through the streets at 35 miles per hour. It was a sticky, slow-moving brown tsunami. 21 people died, and 150 were injured. The high density of the molasses meant that people who got caught were quickly immobilized and slowly crushed or suffocated. The cleanup took weeks. Drowning in beer is weird, but being killed by a 25-foot wave of pancake syrup is just humiliating. The whole city smelled like burnt sugar for months. It was a sweet, sweet tragedy. Number 9. The Deadly Oration. We travel back to ancient Greece for a death that proves laughter is not the best medicine. Meet Chrysippus, a 3rd century BC Stoic philosopher who was famous for his rigorous thinking. The philosopher saw his donkey eating his figs. He then told his slave to give the donkey wine to wash the figs down. The sight of his donkey getting drunk and stumbling around while eating figs was so unbelievably hilarious that Chrysippus burst into an uncontrollable fit of laughter. He laughed so hard and for so long that he literally dropped dead. The man dedicated his life to logic and self-control, only to be undone by the simple comedic brilliance of a drunk donkey, the Uncut. Truth is, sometimes, the funniest joke is the one that kills you. Number 10. The Flying Cow. Now for a true case of bovine absurdity. In 1998, a Japanese fishing trawler was cruising the Sea of Japan when they were struck by an unidentified, fast-moving object. The vessel was damaged, and the terrified crew contacted the authorities. The object that struck them? A cow. A massive, deceased flying cow. It turns out the cow had been stolen by the crew of a Russian cargo plane. When the cow started kicking around the cargo bay, the crew, rather than dealing with it, simply pushed it out of the plane over the ocean. The fishing vessel crew survived the impact, but the cow, of course, did not. It's the ultimate example of truly terrible Russian problem solving, and a rare case of death by high-altitude livestock. The cow didn't just die, it was weaponized. Number 11. The Curse of the Mummy. We turn to the dark glamour of the mummy's curse, specifically surrounding the 1922 discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb. Lord Carnarvon, the financial backer of the expedition, died mysteriously shortly after the tomb was opened. The press immediately blamed an ancient curse, claiming he had upset the pharaoh. The Uncut Truth is less magical, but perhaps more sinister. Carnarvon died from a mosquito bite that became infected. The bite allegedly occurred while shaving, meaning the cut allowed the infection to rapidly take hold. He didn't die from an ancient curse or a spectral horror. He was taken out by a common insect and poor hygiene. It was the anti-climax of the century, proving that even a powerful pharaoh's curse can only be as good as the local mosquito population. Number 12. We end with a tale of paranoia. Meet Alexander Bogdanov, an early 20th century Russian physician and philosopher who was obsessed with the idea of achieving eternal youth through blood transfusions. Bogdanov performed 11 transfusions on himself, claiming the process made him feel younger. For his final experiment, he took blood from a student who had malaria and tuberculosis. Bogdanov died a slow, painful death, riddled with the diseases he willingly accepted. The student, ironically, survived the whole process and remained perfectly healthy. He was a brilliant man who cured himself into an early grave. It's the ultimate scientific irony, believing you found the key to immortality, only to prove that you've just found the key to death by self-experimentation. Number 13. Death by vending machine. We start with a surprisingly common, yet absurd, cause of death in the modern world: the vending machine. This isn't about stale chips, it's about physics and frustration. Across the globe, dozens of people have been killed by vending machines. Why? Because when their snack gets stuck, they try to rock or shake the machine violently to dislodge it. When a 900-pound machine is shaken too hard, it tips over. The victims are instantly crushed by a relentless wall of sugary drinks and snacks. It's a pure Darwin Award scenario. Dying because you desperately wanted a chocolate bar is the ultimate irony. Your final thoughts aren't existential. They are I Just Wanted a Snickers.